everybody, it's Mike the Gamer Guy, and today we're going to be reviewing a game from this year, albeit for the NES, and that game is Dreamworld Pogie. Originally intended for release sometime in 1993, Dreamworld Pogie was one of 11 cancelled games slated for release on Camerica's Aladdin Deck Enhancer peripheral, which was a commercial failure and often cited as a reason why the unlicensed publisher went bankrupt. The game itself is a spin-off of Codemaster's critically acclaimed Dizzy series of adventure platform games, which Camerica held the exclusive NES publishing rights for. The strong partnership between Codemasters and Camerica, despite their unlicensed status, is perhaps one of the most productive partnerships of the NES era that no one really discusses, being responsible not only for incredible games like Linus Spacehead and the award-winning Fantastic Adventures of Dizzy, but also game-changing peripherals like the Game Genie, which Nintendo infamously sued them over, resulting in Nintendo having to pay out over $15 million in damages. So yeah, Codemasters and Camerica were pretty cool and all, but to be honest, they owe much of their success in terms of game development to a pair of brothers, Philip and Andrew Oliver, often known simply as the Oliver twins. The two were responsible for many of Codemasters' biggest early hits, including their popular simulation games, and actually creating the aforementioned Dizzy series. The Oliver's games were so popular in their native UK, in fact, that in 1986, reports estimated that sales of their games made up 7% of all game sales in that country. This is all to say that Dreamworld Pogie has quite the pedigree, and when the twins launched a Kickstarter in late 2016 to get this game officially released, it was something I knew I had to invest in. So now that the game's out, what did I think of it? Well, let's start with the surface level stuff: music, graphics, and presentation. All of which are areas that I increasingly feel I have very little authority on, but oh well. Graphically, the game is colorful and vibrant, but perhaps a bit basic with sprite work. Pogie, which I believe is some kind of purple koala or wombat type animal, is the only character with any sort of definition or expression, which is a bit disappointing for a 90s mascot-based platformer. However, the backgrounds and platforms are all pretty detailed and nice in my opinion. The music, oh the music, mwah, mwah, it could make even the angels weep at its majesty. Well, perhaps it's a bit hyperbolic, but yeah, I love this stuff. Camerica games are somewhat well known for this bubblegum music, for lack of a better term. It's a sound very distinct to them, that has a bizarrely satisfying quality to it, and not just in terms of the entirety of each song, but also each individual note as they pop in and out. Aside from that, DWP just has some really catchy tunes. Don't be surprised if you find yourself humming them after extended periods of play. Presentation-wise, the game is, well, cute. The way Pogie floats in on a balloon at the start, or when he dies, is frankly adorable, and the art direction overall feels appropriate. Except for one notable instance. The in-between level victory animation is kinda unnerving. Kinda extremely unnerving. And that's just not my opinion, but pretty much the opinion of everyone who's seen it. It's just strange. Now, gameplay-wise, there's some interesting stuff going on here. For starters, Pogie is completely defenseless at the start of the game. No attack, no defense, just a helpless koala thing. I'd say this is likely a reference to how koalas are quite literally the most useless and ridiculous animal ever to exist. But there is a concrete gameplay reason why it's set up this way. A major element of Pogie are the numerous purple invincibility candies that litter the levels. Not only do they of course make him invulnerable to enemy attacks, but they also give Pogie super speed. Using this power properly leads to much of the real appeal of Pogie's gameplay. DWP is what I like to think of as a speed game. A game not so much defined by the individual challenges a level might present, but instead a totality of time-losing traps, and the management of time-saving items and strategies. With a decent completion time for the whole game being under 8 minutes for someone of a meager skill level like myself, you can fit the entirety of Pogie into a single level of some other titles. Especially at 15 levels total, that time might seem inexplicably fast, but the game is also incredibly easy once you learn its tricks. Each level is designed with two intentions in mind. The first being to arrange the obstacles that a defenseless Pogie should overcome, and the second is arranging obstacles that slow Pogie down enough for his invincibility to wear off so that the other obstacles can kill him. The thrill of the game becomes mentally mapping out how to best deal with the latter as informed by the former. So questions of which invincibility candies need to be grabbed and which can be skipped, or if it's even worth going for any at all, these are the sorts of problems you'll be dealing with in Dreamworld Pogie. If you love chasing times in other titles, I can't possibly think of a more perfect game, honestly. Why speedrunners haven't picked this game up yet is a total mystery to me, especially because its ROM is totally legally free from the Dreamworld Pogie website. It would in fact only be made more perfect if there was an actual in-game timer, and I think this omission might point to the devs having slightly different aspirations for the game. So with that in mind, if you decide not to approach Pogie from this angle, and instead play it like a normal platform game, you'll find, frankly, a rather uninspired but enjoyable enough adventure. The game is mostly linear, with getting to the exit being your only goal. There are a few levels that have alternate exits, but these alternate paths serve almost no purpose as far as I can tell, other than to artificially lengthen the levels in which they appear. There are also stars to collect, which are stand-ins for Mario's coins. Collect 100 and get an extra life. The top left corner displays how many are present in each level, and decreases as you collect them, but bringing this number to 0 seems to have no effect as far as I can tell. There are also a few other collectibles like gems that you can pick up to get a few bonus points, but that's about it. The ending also leaves something to be desired. For those looking for something more along the lines of Mario or Sonic, I think you'll be a bit disappointed. So where does that leave us with Dream World Pogie? Well, it's a game that, in my opinion, is both extremely addictive for its speedrunnable nature, but which is also quite light on content and challenge, which is made only more obvious when put beside other Camerica Codemaster games, which have both of those in spades. Its graphics are a mixed bag, but that music is so good. The game also succeeds with its packaging, which not only has great artwork, but also a poster, manual, and protective acrylic case. It's pretty hard to come to a solid verdict, to be frank. It just comes down to what you want out of a game. For me, I think I'm satisfied with what DWP is. Just going off the fact that I seem to keep on coming back to it over and over again, and have really enjoyed trying to improve my time. If that's the kind of thing that interests you, I think it can make a pretty solid recommendation. If not, you can always try it for free by getting the ROM from their website, and see what you think for yourself. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you're one of the 5 people who's actually played this game before, then I'd love to hear your thoughts about it in the comments below. If not, go and play that free ROM and come back and tell me what you think, because I'm left sort of divided about how I feel about this game. Between it's really easy and really short, and it's kind of addictive at the same time. So I'd like to hear what you guys have to say about that. Next time we have our final Patreon voted video, though to be honest it was just the last option, where we look at Nintendo Switch game cases, and we're going to sort of dive into it and get a little bit philosophical, in quotation marks. There is some interesting stuff going on here, and I'm going to try and make it a pretty interesting video. I promise it'll be interesting. Please come back and watch that one. I'm really trying to sell people on this idea. Aside from that, we've got a new round of voting for Patreon, so if you want to head over, chip in $1, you can be responsible for picking the next review. And of course, we've got that compatibility video. Here's the Famiclone we're going to be using to test compatibility. It's the 8-bit HD. That video will come out sometime in the middle of the week. I don't know when. But it'll be fun, and we'll get to see if Final Fantasy VII and its brothers work better on this than they do on an actual Famicom. Hopes aren't high, is what we'll see right now, but come back to that video. It'll be a really good time, I promise. Aside from that, thank you all for watching. Thanks to my Patreon people. You guys are great. I love you all. It's a fun hobby. See you guys next time. Bye.